And whose bright idea was this? Oh yeah, it was mine.
Wait. Matron, take them away.
And a warm welcome to one and all. If this is your first time here, I am the big fella. That is the Scruffy Trader. Now it's currently just after 10 o'clock at night here in the UK. And I said to the guys, I'll do the night shift. Why? Well, there's few people work and they can't really trade during the day, so they have to look at a night time. But also, I speak to a lot of guys around the planet, and my nighttime is their daytime. Sometimes it's nice to trade the same session they do. So why not? So get my coffee, because we all know Scruffy likes a coffee. Take a deep breath, wake up, and crack on. So if you like trading in the real world and you want to see some more, do click that little subscribe button. Genuinely helps and motivates me to do more. And if you want to see some more, go down in the description. You'll find my Twitter feeds, and then you'll get a heads up on future updates, etc. So, late at night. Is it a good idea or is it a bad idea? Well, as long as you stick to the same principles, it's a good idea. Because with the Forex market being what it is, it trades 24 hours a day. Certainly for sort of 5 days of the week. Ish. Well, sort of late Sunday night through to Friday night. Have Saturday off. And that's it. And the markets will move every one of those hours. Every single one of them. The question is, which one? And that's what we're going to explore now. So I'm going to kind of take you through a little bit about what I do and how I would apply myself to this time of night. And it's similar to how I apply myself for anything. So before I switch the screen on, I'll just kind of give you a brief overview if you're a little bit unfamiliar with Forex trading and you're quite new to it. There are 3 major sessions per day. You have what's called the Asian session, which is sort of over Australia, Japan, Tokyo, that sort of thing, which moves over into the London session in the UK and for Europe, and then it goes over into what's called the New York session, and they all kind of overlap. And if you can imagine that each one of them is sort of like a working day, sort of like the bank opening hours, that can give you a heads up as to what to do with the markets. In other words, why on earth would you deal with something that is shut? It's going to be incredibly slow. So if you know what the session is that you're trading, trade the asset classes that will be open. So if you're in Australia, for argument's sake, the Australian dollar is going to be traded because the Australian banks are open. They're going to be doing exchanges for business over there. New Zealand will be open. Japan. So you can now look at indices. Australian 200, Japan 225. So you've already starting to make up a basket of assets you can look at. But then you have something that trades constantly, whenever and whatever time. Things like oil. It's a world driver. Every country on the planet will buy oil. You know, so you can look at something like that. Fuels, gold, they all buy gold constantly, whether it's for reserve or risk on, risk off asset. So there's lots of products you can choose. The question is picking the right one for the right time. Then you've got the other side of it. You can then manage your trade by being conservative. Now the fastest market is the London market, the London session. Why? Because you've got the Asian session overlapping into it, and then as it starts halfway through, you've got the New York overlapping into it. So it's kind of a convergence, if you like, a perfect storm, and there's a lot of volatility there. So your targets can be bigger because the moves will be bigger. Then as you go into the New York session, and certainly after 4:30, tighten your targets up a little bit, because the market won't move that much. And then when you go past sort of 9 o'clock or 9:30 when New York shuts, you go into the start of the Asian session. Now, one of the things that happens is the European spreads and a lot of the other spreads open up during the night because liquidity dries up. It's not as busy. So to counteract that, just be conservative with your target. So if you're going to go for 20 pips per trade, go for 10. Be conservative, because you don't want to be caught in a grinding market. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, so now the monologue's over. Let's flick this over. Now, earlier on today, you'll have seen me filter down a load of markets and trade, which was the Australian USD. And why was that? Because I work with a strength sheet that I post out to the guys in the Scruffy Squad. And if you bear with me, I'll quickly show you that. Which is here. So 7:20 this morning, I put it in, and it actually pulled it out as a good contender. Now, I watched that throughout the day, sort of waiting for it to come into trade as we come down, and then eventually come down, so it's there, tells you in, and I took into the trade at 11 o'clock ish because it came valid. All right, so patience paid off as well, and that's what I'm gonna have to do tonight. So let me just see what's going on. Well, first of all, I want to get rid of all of these, all right, because there's none of them I'm going to look at. Why is that? The European markets. I want to be looking at something that is moving and relatively quickly. So the first thing I'll do is I'll make a basket. So told you about the JPY, so that'll be a good one. And we also have the Australian 200. That'll be another good one. Okay. What about Forex? Well, let's go down to the Australasian. It's because these are the markets that are open, so that one will definitely be operating tonight. Let's have a look. That won't. No. Yes. This will become apparent in just a second, guys. So we did there. No, definitely. Okay. So where was that? Aussie? No. Just have a look at the spreads. One of the things with this broker is they actually do it backwards. You see, you've got Aussie, New Zealand and New Zealand, Aussie. So it's the same, but in reverse. But what you can do is check the spread to see which one is the bigger, you know, and if it's bigger, get rid of it. So you're only using the tight spread. So what else can we look at? Commodities. Gold's pretty slow at the moment, but we'll have a look at oil. That's interesting. It's tanked, slowing down, coming into a level, so that's pretty good. And how many markets is that we got? Well, we've got quite a few markets to deal with. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 markets to have a quick look at. Okay. Now it's 10:15. Won't really be trading till 11 o'clock. Why is that? Because that's when the markets open. And I also need time to have a look through these charts and filter them down into just a couple that I'm going to focus on. And all I'm going to do for tonight is look for one trade of 10 pips. You know, anything more than that, fantastic. But I work on benchmarks. So if I go 5 or a point, 10 pips, that's 50 quid. Anything over 50 quid, I'm happy with tonight. So that's my goal, £50. And that way it actually breeds consistency and stops me being greedy. So what I'll do is I'll come off the camera. I'll come back in maybe it's half an hour because I'm going to enjoy my coffee, make myself some toast, and have a look at these markets and see if there's anything valid.
Well, we're waiting.
Okay, guys, it's just turned 11 o'clock, so the markets are getting ready. I prepped the markets that I want. Now all it is, it's a case of filtering down into one, see where we go. So let's flick this over. Let's have a look. So what have I done? Well, if I just pull this down, because I've been keeping the guys going, because little salute to Ivan, who's actually in amongst this with me tonight. Scruffy bias. So that was the 10 o'clock. Went through. I've just finished updating the recent figures so I can see where we're going with this. And we have 7 markets. Now, the strength wise, it looks like JPY is going to be something to keep an eye on. And then the weakest of them is the New Zealand, which is here. Okay. Now, if I look over on the change of strength, you can see that there's only been a change of strength of 1, but the New Zealand's gathered pace, so there's some movement there to be had. Okay. There has also been movement with the Australian up the top. So there is something to work with. There isn't any of the pairs pulled out with these. So what I've had to do is I'm just going to have to filter through them. Okay. Now, for 11 o'clock, I've redone it. And it's pulled out 3 possibilities, which is the Australian indices, the JAP 225, and oil. Okay. Now you'll also see there's a grade down the side of them, which is here, because I've been having a look at them to see whether they are pretty good or bad. Now I have a tendency to trade just solid setups. It's what keeps me consistent. So I'm actually down to 2 markets now, which is the JAP and the oil. All right. So that's kind of where we're at and what we're up to. So if I have a look, we come here, we can start getting a grip of what is going on. Now, this one here, Japan 225 on the Nikkei, it's telling me to buy it. Now, I can understand why it's wanting to buy it. We have a good sell-off. There's been a flush, and then it's failed to continue. It's held the level, and it's had an aggressive move up. It's moved back down. This hammer is good. So this level here is a contender. Okay. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And then let's have a look with oil. Now, oil, it says sell it. Well, that's the other way, because that move doesn't look like it's shown any signs of giving up. All right. Big candles next to no green ones. Even these here, they are not pushing to the upside. You know, there's a little bit here, but that may retrace up, roll over, but come into this level. So between oil and that's what I'm going to look at over the next hour. Keep an eye on them, and hopefully it's going to produce the goods so that I can go to bed. But what I'll do is I'll just put an arrow on here just to remind ourselves what we're doing. So we're going to be shorting this bad boy, and we are going to be buying this one. Okay. Now what I'll do in the meantime is if I drop these down, I'll put them both on the screen so one of them opens up, and I'll just leave the camera running and you can see them side by side. How's that? All right. And the others I won't be looking at till the end of the hour. Okay. Right. Just tidy these up a touch. There we go. Right. Okay. So, how do you trade these things? Well, if I just put this down into 15 minute, which is what I'll be monitoring. Just where you can see it. Very, very simple. Look for push-ups, because if you're selling, you want to be selling high, and if you're buying, you want to be buying low. Simple, simple stuff. Right. Okay. There we are. So I'll just leave them be. I'll run the trade and then I'll come back to you at the end of it. Okay. Okay, guys. Job's done. It's coming up 12:30 at night. I could have held on for a bit more money, but oil did a stonking job. So all I wanted to do was get net positive and get out. Why? Because I'm absolutely knackered. I've been here since 6 o'clock this morning. But looking at it, my analysis was kind of correct. Got in maybe just a little bit early. Problem with one of these is the wide spreads do drag you in. But that is the result for the night. So yes, I sacrificed £100 on the Japan 2025 Nikkei, but it also made 152 and 21. You know, so it's like £174 in profit. So it counteracted it, net positive, and then the profit was from the oil. Now, bear in mind, I was only looking for 50 to 100 quid. I think that's a decent return. Planning, patience, and managing the chart is what's paid off. Now, all the time I'm asked, why are you consistent? How are you consistent? Nobody's that good. People are that good. And the ones that are don't sell courses. I don't sell courses. Yes, the Scruffy Squad is a community, but it's not a course. It just shows you the framework, shows you how the charts work, how the mechanics of them work, and then you can read a chart and perform. It's that simple. And I prove it time and time again. Now, it's a banking system going backwards. That's what scaling backwards is, called pound averaging or dollar averaging. It is based on key levels and ultimately patience. And that's it. Trust your trade. Trade what you see. I have been going through it with Ivan. Salute to you, my friend. in the Discord, because he's asking why things work, and then I broke the charts down as we go. And beauty of what we do, you know, it's all real time. And well, that's it. And that is definitely it, because I am knacked. So double whammy today, guys, and might have tomorrow off. I'm off on Thursday. So if you're seeing this before Thursday, I'm the host of the 5%ers webinars for the next few weeks, because I do a lot of training for the guys, and I've got a lot of time for them. And if you're unfamiliar with what the 5%ers are, they are a prop fund, and you will find some discount codes in the description below. And by all means, go on the website and register for the webinars. So as always, guys, trade well, keep your risk managed, but above all, do what you love, and the money will follow. See you all in the next one.